What is up, everybody? We're back for episode 11 of Queen City Reds. It's just me today. Paul's coaching tennis today, out there coaching him up. Um, maybe you'll get a win, maybe you won't, but we'll see. So you're stuck with me today. Got a bunch of topics we're going to get to. The big one out of the gate: Joey Votto retires. I think it was Wednesday night. I'm just sitting there, putting together the post game recap. What are we going to talk about? And all of a sudden, Joey Votto puts up a little Instagram video and says, "I'm done with baseball. I'm just not very good anymore." And he thanked the Cincinnati Reds. He thanked the Toronto Blue Jays. He thanked the fans. Joey Votto, awesome dude, will always be one of my favorite baseball players growing up. I think we take for granted how good Joey Votto really was. The one game that comes to mind for me for Joey Votto is the Nationals game. Early on, I think he had 3 home runs. I think it was Mother's Day, and he hit a walk-off grand slam. Just an incredible Joey Votto moment. And then I think what was really cool about Joey Votto is as his career progressed, he was more open to the media. He had fun with Jim Day. The Ted Lasso celebration that he did, the Jamie Tart celebration where he'd point to the back of his jersey, was always fun. He was always having fun with fans. He was always, interacting with kids. Joey Votto, just an all-time Red, and will forever be one of my favorite Cincinnati Reds. Let's just dive into his numbers a little bit, which I think are just even more ridiculous. As you can see here on the screen, I mean, you just look at his OPSs all the way down the list. 907 as a rookie, 874, 981, 1.024 in 2010 when he won MVP. His on base percentage was 424. You go to 2012, 474 on base percentage. I mean, this guy was just unbelievable. I think we took for granted how good he really was. Um, Even you go down to 2017, his OPS 1.032, on base percentage 454. He was second in MVP voting. I think he should have won MVP that year. Um, I mean, Joey Votto is just unbelievable, just unbelievable. Even up to 2021, 938 OPS. I mean, the guy was so good at getting on base. And I think, all the arguments about should Joey Votto you know, have more runs batted in, should Joey Votto swing at more pitches. It was kind of crazy. He got some hate that he probably shouldn't have gotten. The guy got on base, which is ultimately what you're paid to do. You get on base, you give your team more chance to succeed. Ellie's leading this year's Reds club with I think like an 830 or 840 OPS. I mean, look at Votto: 907, 981, 1.024, 947, 1.041, 926. 1.032, 938. I mean, what the Reds would do to have a healthy prime Joey Votto on this team when he was in his prime years, I mean, it would help them immensely. But Joey Votto, just an unbelievable player. I know a lot of Reds fans' favorite player of their career, maybe not some of the older guys who got to watch the Big Red Machine, but he's definitely one of my favorite players I've ever watched. I had the privilege to go back last year and watch his last home game as a Red, which was just awesome. He got a standing ovation. He got a hit in his last at bat at Great America Ballpark. They subbed him out. He did a curtain call. His interview with Jim Day afterwards was just unbelievable. Can't say enough good things about Joey Votto. The guy is just pretty awesome. But enough with Joey Votto. We could talk about him for days. We're going to get into the Reds week as a whole. It started out with rough injuries from Hunter Greene and Andrew Abbott. The injuries just keep piling up. Hunter Greene having a career best year, literally in contention for Cy Young. And it gets announced he has some elbow inflammation. Immediately, your mind goes to, oh no, is he going to have Tommy John? So far, it's been good news on the Hunter Greene front. Apparently, in the most Reds thing ever, apparently he heard it hitting his elbow against a cabinet, and then he started, and that made the inflammation go up. But they seem like that's all it is. It's just inflammation. It's nothing more than that. He said it'll be about 2 weeks before he can begin throwing again. I'm not sure if the Reds will bring him back. It'll be interesting to see. But let's pray that's all it is. Let's pray it's not. They said they looked at his UCL and it was very healthy, which is good news. I think that's about as good a news as you could hope for Hunter Greene. And let's truly hope that's all it is, because the Reds just can't afford to lose Hunter Greene going into next year. But we'll see. Hopefully that's all it is. Hopefully we get to watch him pitch 1 or 2 more times this year. I know some people want to shut him down. I don't I want to hate that, but I'd also like to see him pitch again just because he's been so good this year. Andrew Abbott was hurt. I think he mentioned in one of his press conferences maybe it was due to coming back after a rain delay. I don't know. That's kind of speculating at that point. Maybe it was, who knows? He's been struggling a little bit lately anyways. Whether we like it or not, the Reds are kind of out of the playoff race at this point. So it is what it is, I guess. Again, you like to see all these guys continue pitching, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, tough news. Their injuries just keep on coming, but just a rough week for as a whole for the Reds. They, once again struggled last weekend, and you're thinking, here we go again. They did end up winning 2 or 3 against the Blue Jays, and then they have 4 against the Pirates. You're thinking, okay, maybe do good against the Pirates, and then you have 3 against the A's, and maybe you go on a run, and the Reds win 1 of 4 against the Pirates, and that's tough. I mean that I think the season was kind of already toast. I think I've mentioned it before, but it's definitely toast. I mean, you just can't do that. 2 of the 3 they lost. They blew a 5-run lead against the Pirates. Yesterday they finally came back. The Reds are 3-50, 3-50 this year. When they trail after 6 innings. Yesterday they finally came back after trailing after 6 innings, and Alexis Diaz blew a save in the first time in 18 tries in his last 18 tries. I think Alexis Diaz is getting a lot of hate. He's actually been pretty decent lately. He hasn't had a ton of opportunities. I'm not sure I'm putting it all on Alexis Diaz. But Reds fans are just mad. I get it. Every time you play in a bad Pirates team, they've been one of the worst teams in baseball over the last month, and you lose 3 or 4. It's just unacceptable. It sucks. It sucks to have expectations, and to lose so often to a Pirates team that hasn't been good is pretty frustrating. The Reds' record against the Pirates lately is almost like it is against the Brewers. The Brewers, you can kind of understand it because they're a good team. The Pirates have not been a good team, and it's pretty frustrating to be a bad team and continue to lose against a bad team like the Pirates. But that's been the week for the Reds. It's been a bad week. You get 3 against the A's coming up. There's rumors that Rhett Lowder could be pitching on Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to talk about Lowder and some Reds minor leagues down below a little bit, but we'll see. That'd be cool. It'd be cool to see him. He's been pitching really well, but talk about that a little later. All right, waiver pickups. The Reds picked up Ahmed Rosario and Big Dominic Smith. I mean, I know that it's the joke. The Reds pick up everybody's trash. The Reds pick up everybody, everybody that other teams don't want. I mean, I guess I applaud it if they're improving their team, they feel like, but at this point, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Dom Smith is not good enough to get you over the edge. Ahmed Rosario is not good enough to get you over the edge. It just is what it is. I mean, I guess cool for going, at least not giving up, at least giving fans, but it hasn't mattered. We just watched the Pirates series. It hasn't mattered. Dom Smith had a chance with the bases loaded. He flew out. Ahmed Rosario hasn't done a ton. It just doesn't matter. These little moves, the team is just not good enough as a whole for these little moves to matter. And that's just the sad part. That's just the sad part of where we are in the season. It sucks. As a Reds fan myself, it sucks. This team is pretty deflating to watch night in and night out. Now you have games like the Blue Jays game where they came back from 6 down and scored 1,000,000 runs. But more often than not, you get games like yesterday where they score 3 or less runs. In those games, it just feels like they're hopeless. I mean, you're just watching the game yesterday against the Pirates starter, and you're like, they're not going to score. They're just not going to score. And they didn't until they got to the bullpen. But yeah, Reds picked up a couple waiver guys. I don't think they make much of a difference. I guess, sure, if you improve the team, sure, if you're giving Will Benson less at bats, I guess it may help, but it's not making a difference at this point. We just watched him play a bad Pirates team and watched him lose 3 or 4. I may sound deflated here because I kind of am deflated. It stinks talking about a team that stinks. It does. It stinks talking about a team that stinks, especially solo. Paul's coaching tennis, and I'm talking about the Reds, who are currently stink. But here we are. We're giving the people the show that we promised once a week. And with that, we're moving on to some good news. We are moving on to Rhett Lowder. Rhett Lowder got called up to AAA Louisville last week. I think it was Thursday when he made his major league debut. He's been phenomenal over his last 6 starts or so. And he's just been unbelievable. And there's rumors that he's going to pitch this week. We'll see. We'll see if he actually pitches on Wednesday for the Reds against the A's. It very well could happen, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if the Reds want to do that. I think maybe they want to let him pitch a couple more games down in AAA because he just made 1 start. But here we go. Here's what I was looking. Here's where I was going slow because I wanted to talk about how good he's been. But in his first start last Wednesday against the AAA bats, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 0 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Over his last 6 starts or so, I think he has an ERA under 1, which is just incredible. He's been really, really good. So going into that start, he had a .62 ERA over his last 29 innings in the last 5 games. He gave up 0 runs in that start, so it's been even better. I mean, he's been awesome. He really struggled the first half of the year. I thought it was really interesting when I interviewed the Dragons play-by-play guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Really awesome guy. Tom Nichols. There you go. He was interested to see how Lowder would look in the majors because he doesn't have just like an absolute dominant pitch, is what he said. But he said he's a really good pitcher. He knows when to throw what pitches. He's really good with command, and you can see that's starting to come for Rhett Lowder. So we'll see what's next for Lowder. We'll see if he's pitching with the big league team. It would be really cool if he is. It was looking like that wouldn't happen earlier in the year, but it's looking more and more like maybe it could with how good he's been pitching and all the Reds injuries as of late. So we'll see what happens with Rhett Lowder. Cam Collier, I mean, can we talk about Cam Collier? The guy has like a over 200 OPS plus in August. The kid is 19 years old and he's absolutely just raking in AAA or high A Dayton. He had a 3 home run game on Friday night. He hit a 16th home run, 17th home run, and 18th home run of the season. The kid just keeps hitting. He's hitting opposite field home runs, which I really like to see. It means he can go to all aspects. He can go all over the field. I think he has an on-base streak of like 27 straight games. He's been unbelievable. Cam Collier has been unbelievable. He was MVP of the Futures game this year. Again, he was, for those of you who don't know or don't pay attention to the Reds minor leagues, he is the first-round draft pick in 2022 for the Reds. And you can't say enough good things about Cam Collier. I think he would be called up if the Dragons were not in a playoff race. The Dragons seem like they're going to go to the playoffs. The Reds a couple years ago, which a couple people said don't agree with this, and that's fine. We can all have different opinions. A couple years ago, the Reds said they're going to prioritize winning in the minor league level. And, I don't hate that. I think there is something to learning how to win and being on winning teams. Because I think if you're just on losing teams, it kind of weighs on you and you just kind of get used to losing. And you don't want any player to ever get used to losing. So I kind of like that the Reds are sticking with the core down in Dayton. They have Jay Allen, they have Carlos Jorge and Sal Stewart both out for the year, which stinks. They have John Michael Fail, who's come up and just like a Cinderella story. He's been playing well. They have Ethan O'Donnell playing really well in August. Leo Balcazar, has been playing unbelievable, and guys are really starting to step up down there. It's been fun to watch. The Dragons have won, I think, 10 of 11. So if you're around Dayton and you want to go out to a game and have some fun, that team is fun to watch. Their offense is fun to watch, unlike the Reds' offense. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Cam Collier and Rhett Lowder definitely in a year where it seems like some of the top prospects have really struggled. Those two have been unbelievable lately, and it's been fun to watch. One other just Reds minor league thing. Connor Phillips was back last week. He kind of looked like not his old self. He looked like the same he did earlier in the season. He walked too many guys. His fastball command wasn't good. We'll see what happens the rest of the year with Connor Phillips. I'm hoping for good things. I liked what the Reds did and sent him down to the complex league and just to reset a little bit. I think it was mental up at that point, but it didn't look great in his first start back. Let's see what he does the rest of the year. I think Connor Phillips has a ton of talent. It's just all about command with him. But with that, that's enough for Reds minor leagues. We'll get you back to the Reds, some Reds talk, and what I'm watching for the rest of the season when it comes to the Reds. I would say Noelvi Marte is a guy that I'm really watching. I really want Noelvi Marte to succeed. I'm huge on him. I think he has a ton of talent. He started to play better in the field, and then he had a couple lapses again this past week. I think what we're seeing is he's a young kid with not a lot of major league experience. He probably feels like the weight of the world was on his shoulders, trying to come back and prove a point. He probably felt bad for letting his teammates down, letting the organization down, and you're just seeing him press. I did a breakdown. If you go over to my YouTube channel, and I did a breakdown of why I think Marte's struggling. He's just swinging at a lot of bad pitches, pitcher's pitches, if you would. He's not, walking at all, essentially. He's swinging. His swing rate is way up from last year. His swing rate's way up on pitches outside of the zone from last year. It's just not been great for Marte. So I just want to see progress. I just want to see him keep, making progress, have some better at bats, keep making plays in the field that he should make. And we'll see. That's one of the things I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch Julian Aguiar. Sorry, can never say his name right. Is Aguiar? I like the kid a lot. A great kid. I think he has the potential to be a Carson Spires type pitcher. I don't want that to be a negative thing, but I don't think Aguiar is going to be a top of the arm guy. He's just not. His stuff. That's not what his stuff is. He's a guy who throws a ton of strikes. He has a lot of confidence in his stuff, and he's going to attack you. He's not going to walk guys, which I think is one of my favorite things about him is he's going to come after you and he's not going to walk guys, which the Reds have a lot of pitchers in the organization that walk a lot of guys. And Aguiar does not do that. He comes right after you, and a couple times it's burned him so far. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the first inning hit a ball 9,000 feet against him. He gave up a bomb against the Pirates, but he threw 6 innings of 2-run ball. I think he could be a solid long reliever slash fourth or fifth spot starter if you need him. I'm interested to see how he does the rest of the year, especially when teams maybe start to figure him out a little bit. What else am I watching? I'm watching Elly De La Cruz just because he is must-watch TV anytime he gets up to the plate. Guy's unbelievable. We all know Ellie's amazing. He's fun to watch. I'm watching the Dayton Dragons. As I said, they're just fun to watch right now. They have that's where a lot of the talent lies in the Reds organizational depth. They have a lot of prospects down there that are playing well and doing good things. I'm going to watch if Rhett Lowder gets called up. We talked about that a little bit. If he does, it'll be awesome to see how he does against major league competition. I think it'll be some adjusting, obviously, as you have to adjust at every level. But when you watch him, he just seems like a good pitcher. Knows when to throw pitches. He's he's got great command. So he's pretty accurate is what I was going to say, but he's got great command. And he'd be fun to watch. But I think just overall, yeah, I mean, those are the key points where what I'm watching for the rest of the season. I wish I could say I'm watching Matt McClain, I'm watching CES, and I'm watching these guys to see how they perform going into next year. But we don't have those guys to watch. Matt McClain it seems like he's definitely not going to play at this point. He was supposed to start rehab August 12th. It's August 26th. He's still not on a rehab. And that's part of what worries me. This year was supposed to be a big, okay, let all the young guys play. It should be a good year. See what you have. And now next year you have so many question marks going into next year. CS, Matt McClain, Will Benson. I don't even know if you can consider him a question mark. His year's been so bad. Noelvi Marte. I mean, the two bright spots offensively have been Ellie De La Cruz and Tyler Stevenson. Friedel's been hurt a ton. Spencer Steer's been good with runners on base, but his year's kind of been meh. But I think Spencer Steer's probably more of a middle of the order hitter as opposed to forcing him to be a top of the order hitter. Jonathan India's been up and down. The Reds it's going to be an interesting offseason. We'll have tons of time to dissect the offseason. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I think the Reds have to improve their roster. I really do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the Reds do in the offseason. The Reds got 3 with the A's coming up this week. If you want to see any game previews, any game recaps, head over to SI Cincinnati Reds Talk.com. You can see all my recaps, everything there. I'll have game previews for all 3 games. And we'll keep watching. We'll keep watching. As sad as the Reds are, we'll keep watching because that's what we do. Let's just, I don't know. I don't even say get hot anymore. Just close out this season strong. Get somewhere around 500, make it respectable. 79 and 83. That's sad. We're even rooting for that. But I just don't collapse to end the season. Just don't collapse. We need something going into the offseason to be somewhat excited about. But yeah, watch the A's and the Reds this week. Then I think we got the Brewers again, which you know how we play against the Brewers. It's never good. But that's it. Short and sweet this week on Queen City Reds. Hopefully Paul will be back next week. We're going to try to coordinate our schedules. If you're tired of watching the Reds, we got football, week 1 of football this week. We had week 0 last week where some college football teams played. If you're a Cincinnati fan, Ohio State fan, we try to cover it on queencitysports.com. I'll be watching the Bearcats. I watch Ohio State from time to time. Grew up an Ohio State fan as a kid. So you can watch college football if that's your thing. I love college football myself. But I'll be at the Reds game on Sunday with my parents sitting in the club seats. Pretty pumped for that experience. But with nothing else, with that, there's a chance we have an episode next week. There's a chance we don't. I'll be in Ohio at my parents', so I'll have to get it all figured out. But otherwise, see you next time. If you made it this far, comment, like, subscribe, do all that. We appreciate you. Go Reds. See you next time.